Okay, students, welcome back. So, they said suppose the sides of a pendant are 18 millimeters long. What is the height of the pendant to the nearest tenth of a millimeter? Well, the sides are 18 millimeters long. So that means this side, this is not good to do in red, and this side are all 18. So if they're all 18, that tells me something. It is an equilateral triangle. Now, if it's an equilateral triangle, that means it's equal angular, which means all the angles are the same. So if all three angles are the same and they all add up to 180, so let's call the angles x. They're all the same. There's three angles. They all add up to 180. Divide both sides by 3. If you don't already know this, in an equilateral triangle, all the angles are 60 degrees. So this is a 60 degree. This is a 60 degree over here. And this one that's split in half by this little height here is then 60, but 60 divided by 2 is 30. So we have a 60, 30, 90, or 30, 60, 90 triangle. Now, they want to know the height. They want to know this distance, this dotted line. So how am I going to find it? Well, I'm going to imagine this triangle is like this triangle. So I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to take a piece of, I don't know, this pendant. Maybe this is made of wood. I'll saw it in half. And so I have this. And this still represents the height of my triangle. This represents the shorter side, and this represents the longer side. This is 18, because we just chopped this in half. So this piece stays intact right here. That's still 18. So I have 18. I have this side, which I don't know. We'll call it H for now. And I have this side. Well, this is interesting. Well, what is this side? Well, if this is cut in half, 18 divided by 2, it's just 9. So this is 9. Now, there's another way to think of it that the book would want you to say. They said, well, 18 is really, from here, 2s. So if it's 2s, well, I would divide both sides by 2. S equals 9. That's just how the book wants you to think about it. Now, I want to know about H. Well, H is this side. If this is my right triangle, it's the longer leg, which they say is S times square root of 3. Well, what is S? S is 9. So when I write that this longer leg, this height, this H we're trying to figure out, is just really S times the square root of 3, my S I already know. It's 9. So H is just equal to 9 square root of 3. Now, if you really, really must know exactly how many millimeters H is, just plug it into the calculator. If this becomes something that's been asked, how many millimeters exactly is it? So I just go 9 second square root of 3. And it's 15, yeah, it's like, I'm going to say it's 15.6 millimeters. Interesting question. I don't like it because it makes you, I would never think of this as a 30, 60, 90 triangle personally, unless I knew what we were working on. Because sometimes you take a hint about what type of topic you're discussing. If I know it's 30, 60, 90 triangles, I knew what to look for. Otherwise, I'd probably be a little bit more apprehensive to use this. I might actually use the Pythagorean theorem. Pythagorean theorem, Lance, how does that work? Well, with this same triangle, I have the hypotenuse, and I have one side. So the hypotenuse is always the biggest one, 18, equals a squared, which is the shorter side, so I'll make it over here, plus b squared. So do you have to use this formula? 8 times 8 is 64. 18 squared, I have no idea what 18 squared is. Let me find out. 18 squared is 324. So what I'm going to do is then subtract 64 from both sides. This goes to 0. B squared is equal 324 minus 64. I don't think you guys really need to see that, but you can do it. It is, and if you don't believe me, it is. Oh, quit. What did I do wrong? 324 minus 64. Come on, this is easy. Okay, 260. Now the question is, what's the square root of 260? B equals, I'm betting, I bet my paycheck, that the square root of 260 is 15.6. Drum roll. Second, square root 260. Huh, I'm wrong. How is that possible? I'm actually pretty darn close. About at 16. I must have made a mistake somewhere. 324 minus 64. 18 squared? No? 8 squared. Because it's 9 squared. Gosh darn it, you guys didn't pick up on that. So 81. So if I could redo this again, I'll subtract 81s from both sides. Be more careful. I did that to teach you guys a lesson. That you have to be more careful. Otherwise, you can't be like that. So I hope you guys now just learned a lesson. Now, the square root of the number I'm looking for, I'm going to take 324, and I'm going to subtract 81 this time, because 9 times 9 is 81. I get 243. Now, bet my paycheck the square root of 243 is 15.6. Let's see. Second, square root of 243. 15.6. Wow, I'm good. No, I'm not. I made a mistake. But you guys always see me make mistakes. All right, have a good one, guys.